Hey guys, it's your favorite Dinobot here, and today we have two of the best trash talkers in their respective verse, but they got the hands, feet, and weaponry to back it up here. We have Jazz from the BAYVERSE, Optimus Prime's first lieutenant, versus Arcee, someone who definitely should have got a promotion from her leader, but it is what it is here. So without further ado, let us begin here, and we'll actually start off with BAYVERSE Jazz. But first things first, let's start it off with a few rules here. We will be using cross-media scaling for both of them, basically how the games and how the comics actually interpret them here. And again, we will be using Transformers the game and the movie adaptation, the last chapter, considering the fact that we actually know that this actually contains some of the deleted scenes from the original Transformers 2007 movie. Okay, and don't worry, we will also be doing the same for our lovely blue female Autobot here, Arcee. Actually has some pretty decent lore, not only the online continuity novels, but actually in the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games here, and even Rise of the Darkspark. We will also be using the likes of the Transformers Prime, Tales of the Beast Hunters storyline, or, well, Toy Story line as well here. By the way, let me know if you guys would like to see this for, What If Jazz was in Transformers Prime, as I am thinking about rewriting Season 3 to kind of include this here, because I have a bit of ideas on how that could actually work here. So yes, Arcee will have her Beast Hunters gear, her Echo Bow or Echo Hawk bow and stuff like that there, and we will be going to detail how powerful that actually makes her, considering that is anti-Predacon gear as well. So that being said here, please comment down below, like and subscribe, and share with your friends, okay? And without further ado, let us begin. Now, believe it or not here, Jazz actually has some pretty extensive lore going from him here, and it's actually, this dude is a monster. Like, for someone of his size and his stature, yeah, he earned his position as Optimus Prime second in command for a reason, and let's talk about the reason why, right? Jazz would actually scale above the Autobots, both in Transformers 1 and in Transformers 2, and he would actually be second to Optimus only, meaning he's only below Optimus and Megatron, but that's only if he holds back. Yeah, it actually gets pretty crazy here. So, in the novelization of The Ghost of Yesterday, this dude fought and played with Blackout, Bone Crusher, and Frenzy at the same time in a 3-on-1 situation where he came up with the plan for Ironhide to distract the Decepticons while while Ironhide went to go and blow up the ship's reactor from a blind spot. So, with that being said here, how did that actually go? Well, here's the thing, right? Bone Crusher was actually attacking him physically, while Blackout and Frenzy were trying to shoot him from a range. Jazz actually was outmaneuvering Bone Crusher in multiple ways here, and actually little broing this big behind Decepticons here, spinning around him, palming his head and pushing him into the ground here, and still mocking Blackout and Frenzy because they couldn't get a clear shot at him, until Jazz legit flipped so far away from Bone Crusher that Blackout actually caught him. However, the cannon merely sent him back and caused a few minor, I guess you could say, dents in him, and he was still able to not only get back up from it, but then as Bone Crusher charged him, Jazz sent him back with his crescent cannon and was able to pressure Blackout and Frenzy at the same time. Keep in mind, this is important here because Bone Crusher scales to Ironhide. Ironhide is able to fight against Optimus during their younger years and is able to press Starscream to the point where Shockwave had to actually help him. And keep in mind again, Bone Crusher is physically able to not only manhandle, but get the upper hand on Ironhide, to the point where Jazz is the one who turned the tide for Ironhide in order to help him get Bone Crusher out of there. And keep in mind, earlier, Jazz was playing with this guy. Dude is a monster for no reason here. Let's not forget the promotional material for the movie has him going up against Blackout, something that is very consistent throughout BAYVERSE media. For some reason, it's always Jazz and Blackout. But let's actually talk about this, right? You know Jazz actually scales above the rest of the Decepticons, right? with likely his only challenge being Starscream, who's able to harm Optimus to a degree here. Yeah, let's actually talk about the reason why here. Now, Jazz in the movie is able to overpower Brawl for a moment here in his vehicle form, which is by far not a small feat here. Considering the sheer fact, Brawl should be the physically strongest Decepticon in that movie. And keep in mind, we know that Autobots and Decepticons retain their natural strength in their vehicle forms, as we actually seen Ironhide actually ram and kill 2, if not 3 Decepticons in those movies. And keep in mind, Brawl should be above Shockwave and Starscream when it comes to their physical strength, and likely their devastating firepower as well here, considering Brawl was utilized in the ambush and not Shockwave here. So again, Megatron and, well, Starscream himself here actually consider Brawl's firepower devastating enough to nuke the entirety of the Autobot resistance. And keep in mind, Jazz on Earth, no humans around, okay? When he saw that he was in the clear and that he had to get Bumblebee out the way, he literally utilizes his vehicle form, speed blitz, and then transforms, then proceeds to one-tap Brawl and beat the living crap out of him. Keep in mind, these are deleted scenes from the movie, meaning that this was meant to be the original writing. And then we go into the Transformers Defiance comics, which are, again, prequels to the original movie, or again, prequels to the novelization, which prequels the movie. These Autobots were caught lacking. Jazz and Prowl were both having a conversation with Optimus about if they were actually going to go towards Megatron. Keep in mind, they were further away from the group. So, Brawl targeted them, and they all got sent flying back here. But here's the thing, right? Brawl's explosion also hit an Energon pocket as well, making the explosion a lot more massive and a lot more devastating. And we actually see the Autobots furthest away from the blast, like Bumblebee and Smokescreen, are fine. However, we also see Optimus get up like it's nothing, and Jazz get up like it's nothing, because they were at a point blank or a ground zero range for that explosion. Meanwhile, Prowl is messed up badly. And then Optimus says, "Hey, I got this, y'all can go." And Smokescreen's like, "You sure?" "Yeah, just create me a little bit of a disappearing act real quick, because I'm going to need that." Then we also have solid scaling for Autobots that would actually be in the same tier as Skids and Mudflap. Characters that Bumblebee has literally ragdolled in the second movie and smashed their faces together. Now, the only one likely comparable to comparable to Bumblebee are Camshaft and Cliffjumper, respectively, due to their, well, Camshaft due to his bios, and Cliffjumper is actually stated to be a much better fighter and likely stronger than Bumblebee as well here, considering he is a warrior and not a scout here, meaning that his skill level was promoted way ahead of Bumblebee, so that should count for something here. And yet, they both got nearly one-tapped by Thundercracker. Well, Camshaft actually got sliced in half here. Camshaft is actually powered by the Allspark to enhance his armor and durability. And keep in mind, he was struggling with drones that were confirmed to be on the same level as Skids, if not slightly below them. And then Bumblebee obviously is able to one-shot Skids and Mudflap as well here. Now, Jazz, believe it or not, also is comparable to the likes of Megatron, and this is actually something pretty interesting I found out here. And, well, here's the reason why. Now, I understand the battle in Mission City did not do the Autobots justice here, but there is context to it here. And as you can see here by his crescent cannon, Jazz is actually able to budge and actually hurt Megatron a little bit here, and actually cause him to flinch here. But because of this, we actually know that Jazz and the rest of the Autobots are holding back because they cannot risk human casualties. So you might say, Legendary, what would an all-out fight between Jazz and Megatron actually look like? Well, here it is, from Transformers Autobots from the Nintendo DS game. As you guys can see here, Jazz actually holds off Megatron as he lets Bumblebee escape with the Allspark and Sam, and so in order to get to, well, the Allspark and actually get it, Megatron has to fight him. And it's a roughly equal fight where both sides involved have roughly the same level of either ability, strength, or chance of winning. Now, I do think that Jazz actually has a chance of winning rather than strength and ability because he does have some advantages over Megatron here. But this means that Jazz put up such a difficult fight that Megatron could have lost here. And he decided that out of sheer anger when he killed him, he was going to desecrate his corpse. Again, this again shows that Jazz is capable of not only fighting against someone like Megatron, but with no one around to, keep him held down or holding back because of humans, he's able to press Megatron so hard that he can get an upper hand during the fight here. So with that being said here, Jazz should easily be around the star level plus tiers. Each should be many times FTL because, again, the Autobots are able to react to any flying Decepticon who's able to casually fly through space. Jazz has the Crescent Cannon, will also be given his bladed bow staff, and he also has his shielding. So, without further ado, yeah, that should honestly wrap up Jazz. Dude is a genuine monster. But that is also the same for Arcee here. Let's actually talk about it. Believe it or not, Arcee is one of those characters that is constantly slept on the Transformers Prime fan base. But let's talk about it. She's actually able to go toe-to-toe and actually does this consistently. She's able to dominate Breakdown when it comes to close quarters combat. The same Breakdown that's able to slug it out with the likes of Bulkhead on a consistent basis. Okay, you don't know who's going to win that one. Could be Breakdown in some occasions, could be Breakdown in others. And keep in mind, Bulkhead is the same one who slugged Megatron and sent him flying while he was on a Dark Energon amp and sent him flying 3 different times. Now, you could definitely say Megatron was damaged from Optimus from his previous fight here, but the fact that Bulkhead was able to budge this amped Dark Energon Megatron and even draw, I guess you could say in their case, blood in a way from that Megatron here, actually says a lot about him here. And keep in mind, he does it again during the battle for, I guess you could say, to get Optimus's memories back here. But here's the funny thing, right? Did you know Arcee would also scale relative to a upgraded Bruticus from... Actually, this would actually be Bruticus during his second upgrade, I was to say here. So, believe it or not, Bruticus actually has an extensive history of being dismantled by Autobots and upgraded here. Now, this is because Arcee with Cliff Jumper and Hound were able to press and actually disable Bruticus for a short period of time. Keep in mind, this is a much stronger Bruticus here that would eventually go on to be the same Bruticus to fight against the Dinobots and Jazz if we went by the original script of the trailer or the original script of the game, and just Jazz and Jetfire by the original game. But considering the sheer fact that she should scale to her version of Jazz here, this would also scale her relative to the likes of Wheeljack as well here. And Wheeljack actually has feats of staggering and actually being able to budge Predaking here. The same Predaking that's capable of taking attacks from the Forge of Solus Prime here. Now keep in mind here, a lot of characters in the show were not a match for Predaking unless they actually utilized their skill here. And Arcee is the most skilled combatant, but that is for another day. Yes, yeah, we're doing this, and you guys are going to get this early, okay? So, yeah, this is actually going to be a horrific truth rather than a standard versus video. So with that being said here, back to Arcee versus Jazz here. Like I said earlier, she should scale to her aligned continuity or her prime version of Jazz here. And keep in mind, she could also scale above a lot of the other Autobots, including her own teammates, with the sheer fact that she is able to fight and even harm a much stronger Megatron and was able to hold him off screen and actually last longer than the likes of Bulkhead, Bumblebee, and Ratchet, showing that her skill set actually allows her to actually press some of the bigger boys in the verse here, and she does it well. Because again, Megatron, dude was struggling for a good minute. And so, now we go into her upgraded gear, which would actually put her higher here. Keep in mind, base Megatron or GF Prime Megatron would be above, War for Cybertron, Megatron, and even above the feat where he corrupted Cybertron, which is a Dwarf Star level feat here. Now, with that being said, here, let's actually talk about Arcee's Beast Hunter's gear. The Echo Hawk bow actually utilizes Predacon, anti-Predacon technology, and allows her to, well, actually use electric heat-seeking missiles. I know, crazy, ain't it? Now, this is important here because we do have a Beast Hunters comic. I did look it up myself. And also, shout out to my homie for doing this here. I will give him his credit by the end of this video. But again, let's get on with it here. This allows the Autobots to even fight against 2 Predacons at the same time here. Keep in mind, this tech is absolutely no joke here. Optimus Prime is actually equipped with hydraulic cannons that actually allow him to spray water so cold that it's able to match Predacon fire, which burns as hot as the star. And let's not forget, Ultra Magnus still has the Forge of Solus Prime with a couple more minor adjustments. Then there is Shockwave, who is actually able to shoot miniature black holes. Yeah, help. So, with that being said here, I like to give my credit, special credit, to Prime1 on Discord and on YouTube for actually translating these, feats here. And translating all this dialogue and, getting it all here. Because, again, I never thought about this. I never even thought about even using this until now here. So I got to give him his credit here. So with that being said here, final scale, she should easily be star level plus, many times FTL, Echo Hawk bow, twin blasters, and obviously her wrist blades. Plus she is easily one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled Autobot on Team Prime. So without further ado, I'd like to give a special thanks and a special shout out to Prime1. Again, go check out his channel. I would definitely encourage him to do a lot more Transformers Prime scaling and maybe some versus battles as well. And give credit to my boy Nothing Important here for helping me out with the thumbnail and even talking about this with me, because I am looking for some versus battles to kind of space out my content, and he kind of just gave me this here. I will also be doing Juggernaut versus Overlord, as some of you guys have just really requested me to do that here. So without further ado, let's actually talk about this matchup here. Now, the advantages of Jazz here are actually the sheer fact that he has strength, battle IQ, because he is a lieutenant and he's came up with strategies before to actually take out much heavier Decepticons in terms of handicap circumstances. He also has durability and obviously strategic play. Meanwhile, Arcee's advantages are her agility, IQ, her wildcard factor because of her weapons, weapon versatility, offense, and vehicle speed. Keep in mind, Jazz also has weapon potency. These guys are equal in terms of their firing speed, skill, combat, defense, and obviously the most important thing, trash talking. Because, I mean, these dudes would have some very interesting dialogue here. I mean, you guys already seen how I did it with Transformers Prime What If here, with What If Jazz was in Transformers Prime, and it's this version here. So, with that being said here, who do I think wins more often than not? And believe it or not, I think Jazz is actually going to take this. But wait. It's high to extreme difficulty. Alright, hear me out here. You see, the reason why I would give it to Jazz is because of his mentality here. There's nothing holding either one back here. Jazz is about to lock in immediately. There's no games when he's, if there's no such thing as a distraction plan, he's going in here. Now, Arcee does have the weapon versatility advantage because of her Echo Hawk bow and her twin blasters. As a matter of fact, I think in terms of firing capabilities, I think Jazz is actually going to be the one to actually try and get in close, while Arcee tries to keep it at a distance here. I do think if they do start off in a close quarters fight here, I do think Jazz would definitely get the upper hand, because not only does he have his shielding on here, which would prevent Arcee from utilizing her wrist baits to cut him here, but it would also give Jazz an advantage to actually utilize his own speed, and I think that would also catch Arcee off guard here because of how someone just as big as him is moving so fast, and this would allow him to capitalize and actually harm her on more often than not here. Then I think Arcee would try to use her long-range capabilities and get an advantage on that one. And so, with that being said here, I can actually see Jazz utilizing his firepower in order to make Arcee kind of like leap around and try to like lose her footing and then close in on her when she least expects it here. Keep in mind, again, he has a higher battle intelligence, and he's much more strategic than she is. Because again, Arcee sometimes just throws herself into combat, and it's gotten her caught more than enough times here. So with that being said here, I would actually say Jazz takes this 5 times out of 10, and Arcee also takes this 5 times out of 10, but Jazz would definitely get the first win. So, that's going to be all for today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.